And I was a veteran then. We was the only crew left at the squadron, the original squadron. And then we had a little break for about, that was on the 24th of the 10th. Yeah, we had about a week. I must have gone on leave. And then when we come back on the 18th and 11th, we went to Turin again, just to liven them up. And believe it or not, with that was a 8-hour trip. And the following day, we went back again to Turin and done the same thing again. It was a long, long time. We only had about a 7-hour break between the two raids. And then we went to Stuttgart. We never made it. We had trouble with the engines and we had to come back, so it didn't count as a raid. Then we went to Mannheim. That was in the... you got your bomb load here, look. 4,000 pounder, 980 for incendiaries, and nickels. Nickels were pamphlets, propaganda. What we used to do, we go over the North Sea, we used to throw the bleeding lot out. We didn't want to bother of throwing them out when we go. Supposed to throw them out over the target, we used to just throw them in the sea. Then this was when the Battle of Alamein was on. So we went back to Turin for 9 hours, and next time we was iced up terrible with engine trouble as well. We only done 3 hours for that one, but that didn't count as a trip. And then we went back to our old faithful Duisburg. And I tell you what, it was getting a bit warm. It was getting a bit warm there to Abbey Valley. And we went there 6 hours, 15 minutes. I've got a bomb load here. And we went 1,000. We went with 1,174 incendiaries and nickels, plus nickels. 6 hours 15. And then the following day, after we'd been there, as we come back, they woke us up in the morning and said, "You're on ops again, Munich." So all we had was about 5 or 6 hours trip, sleep, and was back on the 21st. The 20th and the 21st was at Munich.
Could you please elaborate on this about train machine guns, please?
Yeah, we did machine gun train that night in the station. It was puffing away in the station. The pilot said, "Give it a liven up," and we went right along the train. Me and the mid-upper blasted it. We see the bullets, so the tracer bouncing off the train. Yeah. That was war, I suppose. And what happened then?
Sorry, if you don't mind, sir, would it be okay if you just sit back so your head's
What happened then?
Sorry.
The pilot I was with, Stubbs, had finished his tour. And the crew, they'd finished their tour. And I was left without a crew. I was sitting in the mess, waiting for a new crew. And a bloke I knew, named Doolan, Sergeant Doolan, came up to me and said, "Harry, the rear gunner's just been killed. We just brought him back dead. Would you like to take his place?" Oh, that sounds right. So I knew the rear gunner because I'd been called up with him in 1940. And his name was Robinson. He came from the other side of London, Brixton. And a night fighter got onto their tower and blasted him out the turret. Literally blasted the whole turret and the tower off. So he said the aircraft's being repaired in the maintenance unit. He said we're going to go and pick it up now. So we've got a new turret on it, new tail plane, ready to fly again. He said, "Would you come as a rear gunner?" I said, "Well, I haven't got a pilot. I'll come." So I flew with this crew. They was all NCOs, and we finished the whole tour, and we was the only crew to finish a tour all the time. I was at Waddington. In the 9 months I was at Waddington, was the only crew that finished the tour. It was all NCOs. Where were we? So my first trip with Sergeant Doolan was Dusseldorf again. Look. Went there a few times, didn't we? Dusseldorf. And this was a shaking one. Hamburg. We got to Hamburg and was preparing to go in for the bombing raid. The flak was crashing about all over us. And the plane started going like that. Literally dropping like a stone. So the pilot said, we're so iced up that we can't fly in the bloody aircraft. And I could hear somebody say, ice coming off with great big lumps of ice crashing against the aircraft. Anyway, so we'll have to abandon so we dropped our bombs where we were just outside Hamburg, and then went down as low as we could, and the ice started breaking away, and we managed to fly again properly. But when I got back and told her, that was a real dicey trip. I said, oh, you didn't get no photograph then? We said, no, we approached Hamburg, we see Hamburg being bombed, we just got to make ourselves, well, it's unfortunate that don't count. That was another trip that didn't count. Yeah, it was hard in those days, I'm telling you. And us all being NCOs, and the briefing officer probably being the flight lieutenant or a squadron leader, we couldn't argue with him. We was only bleeding poor NCOs. And then, this is the new year. No, this is the 13th of the 2nd, 43. No, this is in February 43. We went to Lorient in France, which wasn't a bad. It was an easy trip, that was. Mm-hmm. And then back to Milan, which was a long slog. And then our favourite was a rear gunner. Our favourite was Operations Wilhelmshaven. Back to Wilhelmshaven. And then again to Bremen, which is unusual. I started off there, didn't I? Wilhelmshaven, and went the other way around, Bremen and Wilhelmshaven. This time it was Wilhelmshaven and Bremen. And I tell you what, there was some flak there. There was some flak. Oh, we got badly damaged coming back from Bremen, so we had to land at a place called Croft. And then we returned the next morning in another aircraft. And then we went to Nuremberg, and that night, believe it or not, we lost 50 that night, flying to Nuremberg. The next time they went there, they lost 120. Yeah, they lost 120. They went back there again a couple of months later and lost 120 lengths in one night.
Out of how many?
About 400. Yeah, it was slaughter. And then again, on the 26th of February, I went to Cologne. Oh, they want to see it in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See it in Cologne?
Yeah, I see it. Thank you. Sorry, is it okay if I ask, what did you think of Arthur Harris?
Well, to me, personally speaking, the man had plenty of guts. Because after the Nuremberg raid, we'd lost 120 bombers that night. The following night, he sent out another huge force. Now, man, you've got to have some guts in you to do that, you know, after that terrible loss. But he was the man of the job. Nobody else could do it. He only took orders from Churchill. Churchill was the governor. And what Churchill said went. Unless it was a diabolical raid, and Harris said, no, I can't manage that. But there was he had an aide-de-camp, Harris, I forget his name now. And there was going on a bombing raid, and this aide-de-camp said, no. He said, it's too much, it's too many losses, we're losing too many people there, we shouldn't go. And he resigned. but Harris still went, and we still had the losses. So there was somebody, you know, up the top knew what was going on. Our losses were, well, you cannot believe it. You could say you'd go on leave, and come back in a mess. And there's all strangers in there. All the old crews had gone within a week. Had a heavy week, all gone, all new crews. Yeah. And the faces got younger and younger and younger.
Did you look young for your age?
You think so?
No, did you? Did you look young for your age, or did you look older?
Yeah, there I am there.
Oh.
On the wall.
Oh, thank you.
You see me? There. Picture on the wall.
Thank you.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Do you think did anyone ever find out that you'd lied about your age?
Yeah, I did after I went in the Air Force under the name of my mother's maiden name, because I didn't want I was stupid. I went in the name of Galloway, and then when I've been on 9 Squadron about 2 months, the CEO called me in. He said, "We found out your name isn't Galloway, it's Irons." He said, "We're changing." Never said that. He said, your name's been changed now to Irons," and I went from Galloway to Irons, and nothing said about it. But it was all kids, all joined, loads and loads of 16 or 17-year-olds. There's me there when I got married.
Was that
On the
during the
Sable.
war?
Yeah, that was just before I went and bombed Dresden. That was about 2 weeks before I bombed Dresden, 1944. I don't know what made me get married then, I don't know. And this here, they used to kid us. That was an easy trip.
Gardening.
And it was the most dangerous trip you ever been. Mining. We used to have 6 £1,000 mines on parachutes. And the thing was, you had to fly over the Baltic and drop these mines at about 500 feet. Jerry knew this, and he had loads of these little fast boats with light flak on them, and they shot down loads and loads of our boys on these mining trips. And they called it an easy trip. That's because it was in the Ruhr Valley.
Did they call it gardening?
They called it, yeah, that was a code name for gardening, yeah, because she was planting. Instead of fruit, she was planting mines. Called it gardening, yeah. Oh, you know. And then, believe it or not, I was back on my old favourite. I went to Munich on the 3rd, and on the 9th we had this garden, and on the 12th, back on my old favourite, Essen. I went to the Ruhr Valley 27 times, and I survived. I don't know. And then we went to St. Nazaire. Went to St. Nazaire, and that was a dodgy trip. They had hell of a load of flak. It was in France, but they had a lot of flak. The thing was, we had a wireless operator, and on one of our trips, he wasn't well, and he couldn't fly that night. So he was one trip behind us. So he was on 28, he was on 27. So he had to make up a trip. So what they used to do, they used to find another crew who wanted a spare wireless operator, and he'd go and make up his trip where he was one behind. Unfortunately, he went on this trip and he never come back. Bloke named Chapel. He was on his about 27th trip. He ended up 3 or 4 trips to do, and he went on his trip and he never come back, which happened all the time. And then yeah, we ended our tour. I mean, last trip was Kiel Canal, which is a shocking place. That was shocking when it was all bad. And then I survived. I survived 37 trips, and I'm still a sergeant. And they sent me to OTU. Sent me to OTU as an instructor. And I'd done that for about 6 months, and was in the mess one night, and we'd had a load. I used to drink then. I don't drink now. And we'd really soddled, and we caused a little bit of damage, a little bit of mayhem in the mess. We went in front of the CO next morning, and he said, "I'm bloody fed up with you gunners." And he said, "I'm posting you." And I thought, where the bloody are they going to post me? The 2 postings they had already got out was to Scotland. I thought, sod that, I've got to go away to Scotland. And my posting come up south end, just down the road. How lucky could I be? And what I was doing, I was flying in martinets, towing a drogue for the flak. And we used to go right from Dover, Ramsgate, Margate, not Clacton, all the way along the south coast, towing this drogue, and the British Shakak used to fire. But they were so accurate, they used to keep blowing the bloody drogues off. So they told the gunners to fire a couple of degrees further back. And you used to watch the flak. So I used to watch the flak, it was a straight line, coming right along, right. I hope they'd stop firing before we get. And you could see all the puffs of smoke trailing the white drogue, the big white drogue we'd had. And I'd done that for a few months. And they said, "You're going back on ops again." And that's when I went back on Halifax's.